My name is Alina, and today I'll be teaching you the present perfect tense. How do we form the present perfect tense? We need two words to form this tense: the helping verb have and the past participle of the verb. For example, in the sentence, I have eaten breakfast today, have is a helping verb and the eaten is a past participle of the verb eat. Here are some examples with different subjects. You have studied this before. They have gone home. When we use the subjects I, you, and they, we use a helping verb have. Compare this to the third person singular subject he. For example, he has eaten breakfast today. We still have two words needed to form this tense. But for a singular subject, we must change have to has. He has taken the test. It has rained twice this week. Well, what about forming a negative sentence? I have not heard this song before. He hasn't finished his project yet. Simply insert not after the helping verb. Or we can use a construction which is in shortened form. It is common to use a construction in spoken English. Okay, next. I have traveled to China and India. I have had very short hair. I have seen a famous person. Can you tell when did these actions happen? Of course, no, because we don't know. There is no specific time. And now let's compare these to the simple past tense. I traveled to China in 2009. I traveled to India last March. I had short hair in high school. I saw a famous person 8 years ago. Can you see the difference between the sentences on the left and the ones on the right? On the left, there is no specific time. On the right, a specific time is mentioned. When a specific time is mentioned, it is possible to use the present perfect. You must use the simple past. That is words like last and ago. These are key words that indicate we use simple past, not present perfect. If we use for or since, we should use present perfect. This is for an action that hasn't finished yet. It started in the past and is still continuing now. For example, he has worked there for 23 years. He has been on vacation for 8 days. I have been in my office for 15 minutes. That's words for. We can use for with an amount of time. All these actions are still continuing. Another key word is since. They have been in Canada since 2013. Use since with a date or point in time, not an amount of time. I have eaten 3 apples since 9 o'clock this morning. Or, she has studied English since she was a child. That is, we can use the since with a clause. In this case, the dependent clause, or the clause that begins with the word since, is in the simple past. The independent clause uses present perfect. We can also use present perfect tense with unfinished time periods. For example, we have taken 2 tests this month. In this case, the month has not finished yet. I have eaten 3 apples today. In this case, today is not over. And finally, I have swum twice so far this week. Notice the phrase so far. This can be used unfinished period of time. This implies that I will probably swim again before the week is over. Now let's learn how to make questions in the present perfect tense. You have already learned how to form a sentence with tense, with a subject and helping verb and a past participle. Now making the questions is easy. Move the helping verb to the place before subject. In English questions, a verb comes before the subject. Have you traveled to India? The correct response to this question is yes, I have, no, I haven't. This is called a yes-no questions because there is only possible answer, yes and no. If we have a third-person singular subject, remember to use has instead of have. For example, has Bob driven a car? Correct answers are yes, he has, no, he hasn't. Now let's look at information questions, also called WH questions. What has Bob driven? To this question, we can answer he has driven a car or a car. To form a WH question, we keep the same order that we had in our yes-no questions, but now we had a question forward to the front. Here's another example. Where have you traveled? The answer is I have traveled to India, or for a short answer, to India. So in WH question, just follow this order. WH word, helping verb, subject, past participle. Present perfect has many keywords which can be used in this tense. They are once, already, still, yet, ever, and never. Here's another example. I have seen that movie 3 times. Use present perfect with words like once, twice, or 3 times. Also, I have already seen that movie. Already can be used in affirmative sentences or questions. Yet and still are also used with present perfect. For example, I have eaten dinner yet. Have you eaten dinner yet? Yet can be used in negative sentences or questions. Or, I still haven't gone to the store. Still is used in negative sentences. And finally, have you ever met me? I haven't ever met you. Or, I've never met you and you never met me. Ever and never are common words for present perfect. Ever means at any time in your entire life. It can be used in a question or a negative sentence. Thank you for your attention.